Welcome back to the shed. I'm Syd, Mackie's on the camera. And today we are gonna be building up Mackie's custom painted Niner Bikes Rocket, which is his XC bike that he will be racing at BC Bike Race next week. It's beautiful. So we actually started this build last night by putting ride wrap on the frame. We definitely wanted to have this beautiful custom paint job protected. So this is actually the frame that Mackie rode all of 2022 and a little bit of 2021. It was a prototype unpainted frame, and we got painted rockets earlier this year, and Niner was nice enough to let us keep this frame and send it off to get painted. So this is modeled off of our kick design, which Primalware did, which we're super happy with. And Nate at Niner took that design and turned it into a bike design, and it is stunning and totally ridiculous and loud and awesome. So we're really excited to get it built up for Mackie to race in BC. And if you want to see him race it or see him do his first ride, those videos are all on our vlogging channel. So head over there. All right, shall we do this? We're gonna go through this a little faster than some of our other bike build videos because we are in a rush.
Because we leave for BC tomorrow morning.
We are gonna start with the fork. That is usually where we start because you can't have handlebars till you have a fork. Mackie will be going with the Fox Float something Stepcast, 34 Stepcast. Stepcast just means it has cutouts here. It also means I think you can't adjust the travel. In exchange for not being able to adjust the travel, you get a lighter fork, which is obviously the choice for a cross-country bike. This is a 120 mil fork. The Rocket can spec with 100 or 120, but tend to ride a little more aggressively, so we're going with the 120.
I feel like for us, I wouldn't even consider a 100 mil fork.
You had one on your single speed for a while.
I know, but then I put a 120 on it, and now all I do is run a 120 on it.
Okay.
So we can use the fork that was on this bike before, measure.
That's brilliant.
And also, you'll need to pop off this crown race, which you just stick a flathead screwdriver.
We need that one.
Yeah, we need the crown race.
Cool. So if you're wondering why we're not just putting this fork back on, it's entirely because Mackie wanted a black one.
The orange didn't match. You know that. You agree with me. So put it in and twist. And then work your way around.
Oh, I thought I was supposed to do it there. Cool. All right, crown race, check. Shall we put the crown race on first?
No, I would measure that one and then measure and mark the
you're right.
two.
To cut it.
So they're the same, yeah.
Yeah. So the nice thing about the fact that this is a bike that we had built up before, we can steal some of the measurements. So Mackie was very smart and kept all of the cable housing.
I even labeled it. This one, for example, says DUR for derailleur.
1 to 20. 1 to 20.
And then I would actually mark it slightly below that because I had more spacers on top than I needed.
That definitely saved us some time. Now we get out the trusty pipe cutter, which I'm sure I will once again use going the wrong direction. So, internet, am I going the right way or the wrong way? This we do like this so that we don't get shards on the important bits of the fork.
It's like the reverse of a satisfying noise.
Yeah, we're not.
So I have exciting news for you. We now have a proper crown race installer.
Ta-da-da! That's nice. That's new because
It is new.
last time we were doing it with a piece of PVC
Right
pipe.
there.
Oh, it's so big.
This one also works, but this is one that you get to hit from the top. So that sits on the bottom.
But I need to put the crown race on first.
Yes.
Some grease.
Yes. I have to say, since we're using a bunch of used parts, or some used parts at least, and there's grease, it makes me extra glad that we did the ride wrap before.
Yeah.
Because grease underneath ride wrap is no bueno.
If you get a new bike, that is your moment to do the ride wrap for sure.
Yep.
We did mine after I had ridden it because I was impatient. Mackie was very patient.
I was very patient.
Like that.
Should be.
Now just whack it.
Yeah, there's a new hammer too.
Why do we have a new hammer?
Because the rubber mallet was not really the right tool for a lot of things. That's it.
Oh. Well, y'all look at that. That was easy.
Nothing like a new hammer and a crown race
I
installer.
don't think it was the hammer.
Does it look flush all the way around?
I think so. Is that right?
Yep. So hold it like this on the bottom there. Yeah.
This feels like sacrilege to put grease on this bike.
You just put it on your finger and just do a light layer because we just don't want it to creak.
I thought these were just supposed to fit in there.
Well, it's probably because it got painted, so it may just need a little encouragement. There we go.
Consider it encouraged. I like this better than the other method. As much as I enjoy using the bearing press, it stresses me out a little bit. We got everything we need on the bottom.
Yeah. Did you put the other thing in first? This thing goes first.
Oh crap, this one still has plenty of grease on it, so I think it's gonna be fine. Okay.
Cool.
And that's right side up, which you do want it right side up.
Yep.
Beautiful. Mackie is running this Fox Float SL. That's what we both have on our XC bikes. We had this little fake shock in to do the ride wrap, which was very convenient. I mean, it's definitely like kind of a little on the extra side of things, but we end up using ours somewhat frequently because it turns out bikes don't hold together very well without the shock.
Not that one either. That's the red Loctite.
How about this one? The blue Loctite. I feel like the red Loctite should be in the blue bag. Little dab in here, dab, dab, dab. I'm just afraid of it rebounding onto your beautiful frame.
Yeah.
Keep my hand in here so we just only break my fingers. You should probably do a bolt check on this whole thing before you ride it. So basically you grease things that don't have threads.
You grease things that are going to have contact with something else or that you are afraid of not being able to get undone. Whereas these, you'd rather them be hard to loosen than come out when you don't want them to.
Next, we're gonna do the drivetrain. I'm gonna start with bottom bracket. We have the Enduro Bearings XD15 bottom bracket.
So lifetime warranty on that sucker.
And if I remember correctly, these are the kind of bearings that when they get crud in them and stuff, they get smoother.
Correct.
They like smooth themselves out. Okay, so we'll have the XD15 bottom bracket and then XTR drivetrain. So we've got our cranks in here, derailleur. Mackie's gonna run a 36 tooth chain ring. And then we have a new chain. We did keep the chain from the previous build on this bike, so we won't have to remeasure. We'll just cut it to the same length.
Try flipping it around 180 degrees.
Oh yeah. All right, we've got our universal derailleur hanger, also known as a UDH.
That's something that I think was really smart of the bike industry, making a universal derailleur hanger.
Very long overdue, I'd say.
So it's reverse threaded.
Oh, schmucks.
Because then when the through axle goes through, it's twisting it the other way so that it doesn't loosen it. So that gets tight hard.
Okay, and since the chain is already measured, we don't need to wait for the cassette. Is that right? Mm-hmm. That goes through like that? Why is it hitting the bike?
Because normally the cassette will be holding it here.
Cool, so we're gonna not worry about that for the moment. And we're gonna find our quick link, which is over here, and my favorite tool, the quick link installer tool. Is it necessary? Actually, it's pretty necessary when the bike is in this current format. I don't know how you would get this on otherwise.
So 2 things before you do that.
The whole chain's going the wrong way.
The words are on my side, which means the chain is back.
Forgot there was a right and a wrong way to do that. Now, take the arrow, and the arrow points the right way on the top and the wrong way on the bottom.
Points in the direction of movement of the chain. So yeah, at the top it's going forward, the bottom it's going backwards.
Definitely another case of what makes sense, do the opposite.
Drivetrain installed. What's next?
I thought you were going to give me a high five, but you were just going for the camera. I was like,
Drivetrain installed. High five. Come on.
Well, I want to do wheels because I like doing wheels, and I like to leave the things that I don't like to last, but you're probably right. We should probably do the brakes.
Well, the good news about the brakes.
There's good news about brakes.
There is. The front one doesn't have to be adjusted at all because it's just sitting right there.
Oh, okay, you're gonna use the same one.
And the rear one
Let's start with the front one then.
only has to be connected. It doesn't have to be adjusted.
Okay, that is good news. I like this, that they're packaging these things in paper now. Thank you, Shimano.
Yeah.
Used to be many hundreds and hundreds of these.
Well, look at the new cassette thing also.
It's recycled or something.
And then I'll do a full bleed on these this afternoon because I don't think it's ever had one. And I put a lot of miles on these brakes.
Look, a tiny whisk. I don't know what it's for.
Goes through, see how these bolts have holes?
Oh.
It's to like lock them into place, but we never use those.
Yeah, that would be a pain in the butt.
I used to not like the 3-way tool, but I've actually decided I like it after all.
Oh yeah?
Because it has the 4, the 5, and the 6 all on it at the same time.
Why didn't you like it before? Because it's always had the 4.
Yeah, I don't know, for some reason I was not into it previously. I think partially it doesn't fit in all spaces, but like when you're working on a bike without wheels on it, turns out there's plenty of space.
So for the rear brake, is it going to be long enough by the time we cut it?
I think it should be because I think I trimmed it as little as possible when I removed it from the other one.
This is the part where we cross our fingers that Mackie didn't cut this too short.
I left it as long as I could, so hopefully that will be long enough.
I think it'll be fine. We probably had excess to begin with. How does that seem?
Hard to say.
All right, the clear brake goes on. And I'm not doing something boneheaded like putting this on upside down.
Looks good to me.
Honestly, is there anything more annoying than brake bolts? Oh, saddle bolts. I need my other favorite tool, the ratchet. Has this channel gotten less fun for you now that I kind of know what I'm doing?
No.
Honest question. I wasn't asking you. I know it's probably more fun for you.
You're asking the people.
Yeah, like, is it less entertaining now that I actually know what I'm doing?
That you can correctly identify a 4 on the first go, is what you mean?
Among other skills. The only thing you've had to help me with today is spacers. It's fine for the moment.
Cool.
This would need to be scented. Okay, let's see what we're going with up here. There it is. Yeah, that might be all right still.
So then if that goes in like that, and then rotate the bar for me. I think we're going to be okay.
I think it's fine, but only just, so we need to be careful with how we cut it to put it on.
Well, we don't have to cut it. We just have to install barb.
Okay.
And olive.
Why did I think you had to cut it first?
Well, if you had an old olive on there, we would have had to cut it because it wouldn't have gone out of the frame because the holes are too small.
But you did that already. But is there an olive stuck in the other thing?
I don't know. You'll have to check. No, there's no olive in there.
This is definitely one of those tasks which would be better performed by an octopus, as we've discussed many times. Boom. Before we forget, cover goes back on here. It looks like an olive to me, but I don't know.
Hey, olive! All right, give me the other olive.
Can we reuse it?
That was a new one. I must have put it in there beforehand, planning this out. Because otherwise they lock onto the cable and they come out with the cable, or with the hose. So basically you can screw that back in partway.
I'd just like us to all discuss how I told you there was an olive in there. And you're like, no, olive. You're just seeing your own reflection.
Your golden reflection. It was your golden personality reflecting back at you.
This is your giant ego staring back at you. I'm behind the camera for a minute here because this boy deserves to open his own wheels.
For his birthday bike.
We kind of got a little sneak peek of this on Instagram. Noble sent us some photos of the decals that they printed for this, but...
Oh, it's excellent.
These are the same wheels that we run on our XC bikes. They just got some additional decals, which is excellent. It's literally like an Easter egg bike. All right, we're trying yet another thing. Mackie has Cushcore in one set of wheels. Vittoria airliner in the other. Would you like to explain why you were trying different things?
These ones are really light. I liked the Cushcore. I tried Cushcore XC and they were nice, but they're very heavy. They're like 150 grams a piece. These are 50 grams a piece.
They're really light. I would say my concern just from looking at this is the previous airliners you attached with like a zip tie, which was a pain, but the plus side was then like when they stretched out, you could tighten it again.
I think this is a different material though.
It definitely is. So like hopefully it doesn't stretch out.
And I'm impressed by how strong it feels considering how light it is.
Very light. Definitely lighter than Cushcore. But does it work as well? Aspen.
So these are the tires that I've been running most of this year. I didn't run them for the first part of the year. And then at Grand Junction, I ran them and pinch flatted because I did not run enough air pressure. So that was sort of my impetus to try some of these inserts, was to see if I could run slightly lower pressures while still getting the protection I needed.
And running lightweight tires.
And running lightweight tires, exactly.
Yeah, this is gonna be tricky, I think.
So there's some interesting things with this airliner. You can run lower pressure, like all inserts, lateral stability, protection from rim strikes. But this is interesting, is it's technically an open-celled foam, so it does attract air, although not sealant. So you pump it up and it fills with air, but then like compresses down based on your tire pressure. And then if you get a flat, it like re-expands somewhat so that you can run it when it's flat. I don't know. I thought there were some interesting technologies. Yeah.
All right, there we go. That wasn't bad at all. So I think definitely the move is to put it on.
Put the tire halfway on first. Okay.
Sealant.
As you guys can see, we have run airliners in the past on our trail bikes, but these are a very old or different technology of them.
They worked, they did the job, but I think the one thing I didn't love about them is they would stretch and then they would make noise, which was annoying.
Very.
If you pour like that, you're gonna make a mess. I think this is gonna be hard.
I wonder if you want to rotate it.
I'm going to. I just needed it to not completely explode off before.
What I found with the Cushcore, which I don't know if that'll be true here also, is trying to get it like into the center channel underneath it was hard but worth doing.
That's the technique we were talking about before, is if you center everything, it makes it a lot easier to get it on. Oh yeah. There's no noise.
No satisfying noise.
That's what I'm saying, is you don't actually need extremely strong fingers.
If you've got the technique.
Though we do need our satisfying noise for this.
A little greasy. Yeah, just on those threads there.
Okay. Okay.
It might be worth doing rubbing the grease around a little bit first.
Oh, this is a rub around one.
Well, if you think about it, it's not threaded, so you're not going to be spinning it.
Fair enough.
That thing unscrews the lock ring.
Okay, sure.
All right, Syd is taking a coffee break. But I don't drink coffee, so I don't get to take a break. Also, I want to build this bike up because we have to leave soon. All right.
Putting on wheels, a task of underrated difficulty. It looks like a bike now.
Is that the Duracable housing? Okay.
Yep. I really like this whole, like, we already measured the cable and housing. Aren't we smart? Oh.
What?
There's a yellow mark on this. It must have just been, we mismeasured for something. I'm pretty sure this is a new one.
I agree that's the new one. You can tell by looking at old cables look like, how do we do this?
Wait, no, here's, yeah. There it is. You don't watch enough makeup tutorials.
Apparently.
I mean, neither do I, let's be real.
This is the old one. You can see the wires sticking out of it. If there's no wire sticking out, you know that's your new one. You guys will appreciate this. Because this bike is a prototype, the only thing that is different than the production is that the cables run incorrectly. So instead of this one going to this port like it should, it goes on that side, and then the dropper.
Which, the top or the bottom? Well, we'll stick it
I don't
in
know.
and find out.
Try it in one.
Stick it in and find out. Okay.
Okay, that's correct.
I am correct that there's no real point in adjusting this until we have the wheel on, correct?
Yeah.
What I can tell is there's way too much cable down here. You're doing the dropper post cable, or what are you?
No, this is the lockout cable you cut for me. You can do it.
Yes!
Excellent.
Using the time-honored technique, getting the cable through the housing with your teeth. We've been using this dual lockout, which is dropper post and lockout. It's made by Bontrager.
Come on, one of the coolest parts about it is its name. You haven't said its name yet.
It's called the Drop Lock.
Yep.
Okay, is that cool?
Oh, come on, it's a great name. Drop lock.
Okay, all right. Drop it like it's a lock.
Yeah, it sounds like drop it like it's lock, or drop it and lock it, like lock it and pop it.
Pop, lock, and drop it. Pop, lock, and drop it. Pop, lock, and drop it.
I don't know. I feel like drop lock is a great name.
You can have this be a front and a rear lockout, which we are not doing because we don't really ever lock out our front, and we definitely might sometimes want to lock out the rear and not want to lock out the front, which is to say most of the time, with the exception of like an extremely long paved road. But then you really you have to remember to unlock your front. Sometimes we lock out the rear on like pretty smooth trail climbs or like rougher fire road climbs where I wouldn't particularly want the front locked out.
We just did a local time trial a couple days ago. It's actually not a time trial, everybody starts together, but it's called the time trial. And one of our friends who was racing it also locked his fork out and then forgot to unlock it.
Not locked. Locked. It works, yay. Our final task is the dropper post. We always leave the dropper post for last because basically the bike needs to be able to stand on its own 2 feet, also known as wheels. We're getting off easy here because Mackie saved the housing, so we didn't have to measure it. Oh, this is different. This is the little SL one. Dropper posts are also just very much a 2-person job. You can do it by yourself, but it's a pain in the butt.
It's more fun with a friend.
As are most things.
There we go. Don't move, little dropper post. You trying to distract me?
No, I'm trying to see.
So, housing in first.
That's sort of the conclusion I was coming to there as well. So where does it go in? Here? Perfect. Wow, found some dirt in there. It's a lot of carbon prep.
Okay, 128. Final touch. Time to see how much it weighs. 24.9 or 11.3 kg.
The bike is built. If you want to see Mackie ride this bike, there will be some videos of that right up in the corner. We're not going to do a 1 minute on this. That'd be ridiculous. This is how you build a bike in 3.5 hours.